The body is stiff. The mind is already rehearsing objections. There are tasks waiting that feel heavy, unfair, or pointless. And yet, we rise. Not because we enjoy what waits for us, but because we have learned something rarer: how to use resistance as fuel. A man does not gain mastery by chasing pleasure. He gains it by training himself to stand calmly inside discomfort until what once repelled him becomes a proving ground. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That line is not poetry. It is a manual. What follows are not tricks to make misery pleasant. They are disciplines. 7 ways we transform the hated into the useful, the heavy into the strengthening, the unavoidable into the chosen. 1. We stop asking whether we like it. Liking is irrelevant. The moment we ask, "Do I feel like doing this?" we surrender authority to the most unstable judge we possess: mood. Mood is weather. Discipline is climate. We learn to say, "This is before me, therefore it is mine." Epictetus reminded his students that some things are up to us, and some things are not. The task itself may not be optional, but our posture toward it always is. When we stop negotiating with discomfort, it loses its voice. What we hate often persists because we argue with it. Silence the argument, and the burden lightens. 2. We treat discomfort as training, not punishment. There is a difference between suffering and conditioning. The cold morning, the repetitive labor, the delayed reward, none of these are insults from the world. They are weights. And like all weights, they only crush the unprepared. Seneca warned, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." We take that literally. Each disliked task becomes a rehearsal for adversity. Each irritation becomes a lesson in restraint. We are not enduring this moment. We are being shaped by it. Once we see hardship as deliberate training, resentment has nowhere to stand. 3. We separate the task from the story around it. Most things we hate are not painful by nature. They are painful by narration. The mind adds commentary. This is beneath me. This will never end. This shouldn't be my life. And suddenly a simple act becomes a personal tragedy. Epictetus cut through this illusion with brutal clarity. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them. So we practice subtraction. We do the task, without drama, without prophecy, without self-pity, just motion, breath, execution. When the story dies, the hatred often dies with it. 4. We practice voluntary hardship. There is a strange freedom in choosing what we could otherwise avoid. We wake earlier than required. We work when rest is available. We accept inconvenience even when comfort is near. Not to punish ourselves, but to remind ourselves that comfort is not our master. Seneca advised rehearsing poverty while still rich, hardship while still safe. The man who occasionally walks into discomfort on his own terms cannot be intimidated by it later. When hardship becomes familiar, it stops feeling hostile. It becomes known. And what is known is no longer feared. 5. We anchor ourselves in impermanence. Nothing about this moment is permanent. Not the task, not the exhaustion, not even us. Marcus Aurelius returned to this thought again and again. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Hatred shrinks when seen against mortality. The chore becomes smaller. The frustration becomes quieter. The ego loosens its grip. When we remember that all of this will pass, we stop demanding that it entertain us. We allow it simply to be done. 6. We find meaning in execution, not outcome. Most hatred is born from expectation. We want results, recognition, a future payoff. When those feel distant, the present feels unbearable. So we shift the reward. The reward is precision. The reward is composure. The reward is doing the thing well, especially when no one is watching. A man who ties his satisfaction to outcome becomes bitter. A man who ties it to conduct becomes unshakable. We may not enjoy the task, but we can respect the way we carry it out. 7. We learn to enjoy mastery itself. Here is the quiet truth. Over time, we stop hating these things, not because they change, but because we do. We begin to enjoy the internal victory, the calm under pressure, the knowledge that we are no longer ruled by impulse. As one modern scholar of Stoic thought observed, the goal is not a life without hardship, but a self that is no longer harmed by it. When we stand in disliked moments without flinching, something powerful happens. We realize the world has fewer weapons against us than we once believed. Closing reflection. We do not wait for life to feel pleasant before we engage it. We engage it fully, especially where it resists us. The things we hate are not enemies. They are instructors. They show us where we are still fragile, still reactive, still owned by comfort. And each morning, when we rise and meet them anyway, we reclaim a little more ground inside ourselves. Not loudly, not dramatically, but permanently.